Hi friends, good morning. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. In today's video, I just wanted to catch you up on all the different garden design projects that I've been working on so far this year, and also talk about some more projects yet to come and still some that we haven't even started yet. I think it was back in January that I filmed a garden tour talking about what I wanted to accomplish this year. So I thought, since we're in mid-May, let's take a look around the garden, see how all those projects are shaping up. And I also really want to get your opinion on one additional project I want to start in the back of the raised beds. So for now, let's go ahead and head on into the garden. I guess maybe I'll just try to point out what's different this year than in other years that you might have seen my garden. So this is the right side of the garden and what I call the main flower walk. And this year I decided to line it with bricks. And then I half buried these bricks here at the gate, just so that you can open the gate in and out. And so let's go ahead and head on into the garden now. Today is currently Mother's Day, and my husband and daughter have agreed to watch a Doris Day movie with me after this. So I'm really a lucky lady tonight. So right here, I picked up this new bistro set. It's an antique. I planned to restore it, but then as I started to wash it, it revealed all of this beautiful kind of avocado green paint. And I'm wondering if it was originally from the 50s, being that it was painted that color. So I decided to just clean it up and leave it as is. We have tons and tons of lilies yet to bloom. And here we have that 9 bark that we moved when all the shrubs were still dormant. You'll see that I would say about 3/4 of the alliums have at least started to open. The ones there are a little bit later. They're ambassador. And by the time we get around to do the full May garden tour, we'll have all the alliums in bloom and tons of peonies. I also have some amazing gray poppies, which I hope will finally bloom for me this year, planted behind that catmint hedge. So far, in terms of changing the color palette this year to different shades of purple, acid green, and orange, it's going well. I can't wait to show you how the Clarkia is doing. It seemed to work so much better planting it in the landscape, and I'll have to review the date that I planted it on, because if you've been struggling with Clarkia, maybe give kind of an earlier planting a try. Right here in the front of the garden, we have Pinball Wizard allium, and those get much bigger as the weeks go on. Pinball Wizard is also the allium you're seeing there on the right-hand side of your screen. And some more ambassador that still are yet to bloom. You see that Vitex there in the far right-hand corner of the screen is still leafing out. So I'm really glad we decided to move that shrub this year. For acid green on this side, I have some Bupleurum sprinkled in. Lots of ladies' mantle. And moving forward, I'm going to focus on lime green and purple as not necessarily a flowering color, but as a foliage color. I've also started to stick my dahlias in the border. All the dahlias in the border are going to be orange. So we're kind of at an in-between point here. But let me back up for 1 second, because I missed an update. I need to stay on track here. I get distracted by the flowers, but this is about what I've done in terms of garden design so far. I did widen the path this year. I think that's probably the best thing I've ever done. It makes such a huge difference not to have that really skinny, narrow path. And I'm telling myself over and over again not to take any of that grass away, and just to maintain this nice walking area. Pretty much all the tulips are fading, but we do have some elegant lady tulips left. We had a really big rain yesterday, and that pretty much took all my remaining tulips. The Amazing Parrot and also, Amazing Grace was looking good until that happened. Tons and tons of peonies everywhere, lots of beautiful shrubs. Straight ahead, oh, Grace left her frisbee out. Straight ahead we have another update, and also an update there on the right-hand side of your screen. So let's travel straight ahead first, and then we'll circle back around. One of my main goals for this growing season was to make the raised bed gardens feel more like a room. So far, I put in the deck. We added all the trellises. I think that really made a big difference. We're sitting out on the deck all the time. When people come over, I notice they gravitate toward these seats, so that's really, really great. It's getting used. It's not just seating that's sitting around. But what I want to do next is take out a little bit more of the grass on either side of the deck. And I think I'm going to edge it with catmint. I've been on the fence about, should I do boxwood, hydrangeas? But the other day when I was trying to decide, a hummingbird came and drank from some of my catmint for a very long time. So naturally, I took that as a sign, and I think I'm going to go with catmint. Also, I can just take divisions of the catmint that I have rather than having to purchase a bunch more shrubs. So we do have some cool flowers blooming. The ranunculus did not bloom in time for Mother's Day. Breadseed poppies are doing good. Sweet peas are doing really good. Orlea, bachelor's buttons, and some phlox are blooming now. We came close with the ranunculus, but I still think it's going to be late May until this bed and the other bed really shows enough color to start cutting these. I've been really, really happy with this Sweet William experiment. This is one other reason why I wanted to shoot the walk around the garden today, is because I'm going to be cutting the Sweet William and also a lot of the alliums over in the driveway following this. But there's our fall sown Sweet William, flowering now on Mother's Day, ready for its first cut. And then we have the spring sown Sweet William, so much further behind. So now we arrive at my question that I need your help with. After we traveled to Andalusia, I fell in love with that natural hornbeam arch that they had created. And I want to put one right here, either maybe 4 hornbeams, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the corners of the bed, or 2 at the very end, and train those hornbeams just like we saw at Andalusia to be a living arch. So my number one question is, if you grow hornbeam in your garden and you have Japanese beetles, do the Japanese beetles like hornbeam? Because I want to make sure that I'm not bringing in a big problem back here by bringing in the hornbeam. Still lots to do back in the dried flower garden and with this second patch of Saving Grace dahlia seedlings. So I won't spend too much time back here because I need to do a lot more work over here. Instead, let's travel back through the raised beds. And I really love the view from back here now. Love all the trellises. I might bring a lot more trellises over into the driveway garden. But I'm not sure if the screen will pick it up. But I like having the bistro set there too, because now it feels like if you're back here in the raised beds, you're almost being drawn to re-explore the garden from another direction. So we'll look at the hydrangea room where we have some white alliums blooming in a second. But here's that new stone rug that I created the other day. And as soon as we cool down a bit and we get some nice overcast days, I'll go ahead and divide my grandma's lamb's ear some more and fill in all the cracks. So eventually, hopefully we won't see any soil over here. We'll just see a lot of beautiful lamb's ear. Do you see those martagon lilies behind the bench? I planted those last year and I didn't know what happened. None of them appeared. Now I see martagon lilies all over the garden. I can't wait to see them bloom. It was a variety I was really excited about, kind of a deep purpley maroon. So let me turn us over to the hydrangea room nice and slowly. Over here we have some Mount Everest alliums in bloom. Kind of in between flowering shows. I'm not sure if I would plant Mount Everest again. Maybe it would look better planted with some purple alliums. And as you can see, some cars in the background. Naturally, those cars have every right to be there, but what I want to be our main focus moving forward for the remainder of May, I'm going to go ahead and invest a large sum of money into getting rid of all the Rose of Sharon, getting rid of the willow in Grace's garden, keeping only the bird cherry, the apple, the tart cherry, and the pear in this area. We're going to take out the cattle fencing, put in new iron fencing, and line the whole thing with evergreen trees. Because as you can see, being on a corner lot, I think it will make a big difference to have a full evergreen screen over here. And if you look straight ahead, where I have those emerald green arborvitaes, I put those in probably the second year we were here. 8 years later, they're touching. And I wish I would have went ahead and put the evergreens over here right from the start. If I could go back in time and do it all over again, I would do that immediately. There was so many additional trees over here. I'm not exaggerating when I say that we probably cut down, goodness, 40 trees maybe when we first moved in. It was basically a tree jungle everywhere. So next on the list, get that evergreen screen in the ground before everything gets too hot. And I think that's going to make a huge, huge difference. So financially, after that happens, I'm not sure what other projects I'll be able to accomplish, but I think I really need to focus my energy on that screen this year. This is a nice view of the Mount Everest alliums from over here, isn't it? If you don't mind hanging in there with me a second, let me take us slowly around this apple tree that's in the hydrangea room, because I want to show you a view that you can only see from the backyard. You're able to see from the hydrangea room into the driveway garden, and it's so beautiful right now. I mentioned the other day I'm going to do a much bigger dried flower Christmas tree this year. So tomorrow I'm going to be cutting about half of the gladiator alliums that are in the driveway garden, and I'm going to attempt to dry them in the purple stage. So I want to make sure and show you this. Okay, that was a little hard to move slowly, but you can see my husband's scooter there. You can see the rain barrel, and then can you see all of those wonderful gladiator alliums in the distance? Here's that same view from the chairs by our fire pit. The Coosa dogwood is blooming now, but those gladiator alliums are definitely calling us in for a closer look. So let's head over to the driveway garden now. So we just left the other gate, and here we are at the driveway garden. Things have shifted from daffodils in bloom to gladiator alliums in bloom. That's the tall one that you see. And I can tell it's starting to go to seed. And the somewhat shorter ones that are starting to open over here and are going to take the allium's place are Pinball Wizard. Lots of Orlea in here. Oh, wait until I show you this one bearded iris that is over in this garden. So the heights over in this garden are a little out of whack at the moment, just because this garden is relatively new. So all of the shrubs look about the same height, but in about 2 years, all of the panicle hydrangeas will reach heights of 7 to 8 feet tall and wide, and we will have a panicle hydrangea screen over here. Here comes my husband on his scooter. So I'm excited to see this garden mature and grow. Now that I have a clearer vision for the area, I can move forward. What needs to be done in this area next is I need to plant all my pink dahlias in this area. And what I'm doing about the allium foliage is I'm attempting to disguise it with plants, and I am also positioning my dahlias very, very close to the dying foliage of alliums and daffodils. So as one bulb goes out of bloom, another tuber will come in and take its place. But let me show you this gorgeous, gorgeous bearded iris. We saw a concertina the other day. Let me show you one more time in case you missed it. It's in the hydrangea room, and it's over here as well. The one next to it, I think it's called Persian carpet. I'll check on that. That one's also beautiful, but let me turn us the other direction. So you can see this one called Ozark, which is this amazing, deep, deep purple. I just put these in last fall. We have straw flower over here. Also, my whole flat of celosias over here, if you can see those lining the path. Those are in a light coral color from Floret. Christophii is still yet to bloom over in this area. But we'll see how this garden shapes up as the year progresses. So far, I'm really happy with the natural appearance. Well, friends, thanks so much for spending some time out here in the garden with me. I'll be sure and film a full May garden tour for you all when all the peonies and alliums are in bloom. I also have some exciting news to share with you about the flower stand. So that's coming soon as well. A few more field trips as well. And I'd love to hear about what you're getting around to in terms of garden design. What are you adding or subtracting from the garden this year in order to make it your own? And I think we're just always trying to make it a little bit better, experimenting, learning, growing. And at the end of the day, I feel like we're just always trying to paint the picture that's in our mind. Well, friends, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.